Welcome one and all to Umami Manga. I'm one of your hosts, Petter, and with me I got my co-host, James.
Hi.
And today we're talking about Volume 12 of the Kaguya-sama Love is War manga. A lovely volume. I feel like I've said this before about the volumes, but I loved this volume. um,
We got some progress actually.
we really did. And I think, honestly, at this point so far, this might just be my favorite volume.
Oh really? Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. It just we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So let's kick it off like we usually do. Let's talk about Kaguya Shinomiya for a bit.
It's funny when Miyuki kind of starts taking the offensive in a way,
Mm.
or at least starts to be a little more honest, which we can talk about later. But she kind of doesn't know how to react to that because she's so used to playing the mind games with him.
Yeah.
When I was first reading the volume, I thought maybe she wasn't gonna like that or accept that, or maybe the fun in their relationship was how they played these mind games with them. But in the end, like she
Ah.
kind of, right? But in the end, she kind of came around and realized he was putting out the courage, or
Mm.
after talking to Hayasaka, and so she decided to at least show a little more courage herself,
True.
even though it was both of them were going about it in very indirect ways.
Right.
Um, but I think it
Yeah.
was again good progress, and it shows that at least in Kaguya's case, she is definitely willing, or yeah, a bit willing, to maybe take it the next step, or finally get into a relationship with him.
Right. And I think she like at the end of the previous volume we learned that Miyuki set this kind of time limit for himself to confess his love
Hmm.
for her because he's realizing that time is running short. He's going to study abroad, it seems. And I feel like Kaguya sort of, maybe she doesn't have like a time limit necessarily for herself, but she has at least started feeling like, what if me not taking action as much as I could has ruined my chances with him? Like, she has sort of had those
Mm.
worries as well. So I think they're both really just kind of, starting to do a little bit more about the situation more actively. And I think this volume shows
Hmm.
that.
Oh yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
so it's nice to see from both sides.
Hmm. Not just Miyuki.
Right. But what I loved probably the most about from Kaguya's side of things this volume was that she finally said it. She said that she likes Miyuki.
That's true. Oh yeah. Oh, how could I not say that? Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Like
And
12 volumes in, she finally is able to admit it.
hmm finally, and it even took Hayasaka by surprise that she said it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that we've it's been a general progression. You
Mm.
know, in some manga, it probably would have happened towards the beginning, but 12 volumes in, we finally get it. Even though we knew all along that she liked him, but
Right.
she's finally willing to accept her feelings for him.
Yeah. And she was even able to admit like in front of the student council that she thinks Miyuki is fine just the way he is
Yeah. Mm.
in this volume. I thought that was also, a big thing for her. Obviously, she didn't say it in any romantic kind of way in that instance, obviously.
No.
But
Hmm.
just to be able to express herself that way, that openly to everyone, I thought was big.
Indeed.
We also learned that she's left-handed.
Yeah. Go figure.
Hmm.
I like how when Miyuki kind of opens up to her in a certain chapter, the balloon one, Kaguya doesn't take the opportunity, or not the opportunity, but how would I say? Miyuki was probably worried that she would look on him, with the oh how cute face, or kind of pity him or whatever.
Yeah.
But instead, she seemed really happy that she kind of learned more about him and understood his secret, or a one of his secret. And I mean, I guess we could chalk it up to romantic, I suppose, but I think it's nice that we see how happy she is to learn a little bit more about Miyuki.
Yeah.
And I guess from Miyuki's point of view, it turned out good for him, to open himself up and not be so worried about his flaws.
Yeah, exactly. Because so far he's only shown this side to Chika,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or at least
Although,
not to Kaguya. Maybe someone else, but like at least not to Kaguya.
well, yeah, but also I don't know if he really recognizes that he's shown his weaknesses to Chica either.
Well, yeah.
He even said, "Have I shown my weaknesses?" Like
Right, you're right.
I don't know how he could be that daft, but whatever.
Yeah, it's strange. Uh,
Anyway, keep going.
yeah. So more about Kaguya. The media club girls that are when they're interviewing Kaguya in this volume,
Mm-hmm.
they they kind of seem to think that Kaguya, she descended from the heavens, and they
Oh.
they like worship her and all that, which I feel like could be a possible nod to the Tale of the Bamboo Cutter again, where
Mm-hmm.
Princess Kaguya came to Earth from the moon.
Yeah.
So not exactly the same, but like I feel like it could be a little nod to that. And there was another little part which sort of could be viewed as that as well in the volume, where Miyuki's dad gives Miyuki his old watch, the moon watch,
Hmm.
and he tells Miyuki that it belongs to someone who's trying to reach for the moon, which which made me think of the moon viewing chapter where Miyuki told Kaguya that if he was the guy from the old folktale, the one who got the immortality elixir and all that, that he would take it and he would go above and beyond to, to wait for Kaguya or to get her back from the moon. Made me think of that. I don't know if that was what it was intended to kind of revoke those kinds of
Hmm.
thoughts, but it did for me anyway, and I thought I like that.
Yeah, I think anytime you bring up the moon in this manga, it's gonna be some sort of correlate, or at least the reader is gonna think, oh, is there gonna be Princess Kaguya a relation to that? So
Hmm.
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Do you got anything more on Kaguya?
I like how she gets. She's at first she's pretty kind of cold to that whole tale of the heart, like the
Yes.
reason behind the heart keychain or whatever. She's like, okay, whatever. And then Tsubame explains that if you give it to someone you like, it means they're supposed to be destined forever or whatever she says. She's just like, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I love that.
It must be true.
Yeah, that such a good moment.
Yeah, it's a good moment for her, but she wasn't interested in the story itself until there was some sort of legend about romance. Then it became interesting.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, I guess it just shows how love crazy she is right now.
Right, right. And I think it kind of shows how emotional she actually is. Like, she has like this cold and kind of practical outside, sort of, or kind of exterior.
Mm-hmm.
But really, on the inside, she is very emotional, and it was very obvious when she her phone broke and she lost all those pictures. Like I think that showed it really
Yeah.
well. But this kind of was different thing, but kind of similar. Also, kind of showed kind of that she does have that kind of excitement over the
Mm-hmm.
superstitious kind of things, and yeah, it's nice.
I guess it is kind of sentimental in a way, even though like she hasn't given it to him, but still, there is something about it that
Hmm.
I guess appeals to her in that way.
Right, and I thought it was so funny that obviously it is very superstitious, or like that whole
Mm-hmm.
legend and things that people say about it. But still, Kaguya went so like she gave it so much thought. Like, oh, how am I gonna go about this? Like to give Miyuki a heart without him noticing that it's a heart. I
uh,
thought that was funny because I mean, obviously she's not that dumb to actually believe in it, but I
mm-hmm.
think I don't know. Somehow I could still see that it sort of makes sense for her to still do what she does, and
Well,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you know what? I think it may be just something that any chance I can get, I'm gonna take at
Right.
getting us together, kind of a thing,
Yeah.
even if she believes it or not. Which I think at this point she's fooled herself into believing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly.
The one last thing I'll say about Kaguya is we kind of it's not our first look, but it's I think the longest look we've had of Ice Princess Kaguya
Oh yeah.
before she and Miyuki really knew each other. She jumps in to save a fellow classmate, and she was non-hesitant. She did it automatically,
Mm.
especially when no one else would. Although I don't know how much time she gave everybody else either, but she claims that no one else was going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, and it looked like no one else was gonna do it because like the other students there, like not talking about Miyuki because he couldn't
Mm-hmm.
swim, but the others
True.
who, well, I guess we can assume that the others could swim maybe because I guess
Mm-hmm.
most people probably can, but anyway, um, they were like using these really bad excuses not to jump in. It's like I don't remember them off the top of my head now, but like they used really bad excuses not to jump in. Like they were actually like kind of deliberating about it, like talking about it instead of taking action.
I guess there would have been a hesitation then.
I think yeah, definitely.
For some reason, I didn't put that together. You're right. Yeah.
Mm.
So I guess just it shows how calm of a thinker she is, and
Mm.
she can assess the situation quickly rather than worry about all these little things. So yeah, that's a good sign of her character, and it shows that even the Ice Princess Kaguya was a good person and someone who had a good heart, even if they were cold or maybe even manipulative
Yeah.
in certain aspects of their life. But that's just the Shinomiya way.
Yeah, although she did tell Hayasaka that she only did it to, be able to kind of have some leverage over this person potentially in the future if she needed it. Which I personally, first of all, I'm not sure if it was 100% that. I
Mm-hmm.
want to believe that she did it also out of goodness, but it's hard to say exactly because we know how like harsh of a background she comes from. So I do think it's possible that she was entirely honest in her response to I, but at the same time I kind of want there to be a little bit of goodness in there as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's half and half. I mean, maybe more one side than the other, but
Uh,
still, I think there's a practical reason to do it. It's to get her on, kind of gain people's favor and
hmm.
potentially use her for later. But also the more maybe humane and kind side to it, save someone's life. So it's
Yeah.
I think it, and I'm not saying you were saying this either, but I think it's on point for a character at the time. It shows that she is a Shinomiya, but at the same time, she's the deep down the kind-hearted Kaguya that just doesn't get to show that side of her because of her upbringing. I think.
Right, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm probably leaning toward it being just a very small bit of actual like genuine kindness in that personally, just because I want to still believe that it wasn't until after she got to know Miyuki that she started seeing like the good in the world, kind of.
Hmm.
Um, Not saying it was no kindness at all, but I just think there was just a very small bit in that instance. It's my
Yeah,
speculation.
I can see that. I guess maybe I'm a little more optimistic. I think maybe she would have had a little more kindness in just a little bit, but I do agree with you that there's probably more of the, you know, I can use her for later or
Mm.
the practical side to it.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I guess that's it for Kaguya Shinomiya.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right, then let's talk about Miyuki Sirogane. He straight up is able to ask Kaguya to do cosplay for him. I loved that. And in that chapter, like his bluntness throughout it kind of reminded me of his dad.
Oh, really?
Like just how kind of just straight on he was with everything he said. Obviously
True.
he was still kind of having a hard time acting that way, we learned. Like he was getting a little bit flustered even though he didn't show it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just like the straightforwardness and the bluntness, it reminded me a lot of his dad.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, I say for sure, but I guess I didn't really think about it. But now that you bring it up, yeah, I could see that. I'm sure he took after his dad when it comes to being, blunt and honest and that
Yeah.
in that case. But I love how honest he has become in this situation where he says, "Yes, I want to see you in cosplay," or I guess even kind of possessive in one instance where he's like, "No, though that outfit is way too short.
But
Don't do that."
he's also looking out for her at the same time.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's
and
important to note.
yeah, and it was funny because we saw like a very brief flashback in a previous volume where he said the same thing basically to his little sister.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And he was also just looking out for her.
Hmm. And I think the other thing that's nice about the honest Miyuki is it kind of gets the ball rolling. uh,
Yeah,
because like I was saying before, Kaguya was still wanting to play these games, or is at least still expecting to. But with Miyuki going on the offensive or being willing to say how he really feels, it starts it's turning the gears in Kaguya's mind. Is like realizing, oh wait, he's actually starting to express his feelings for me in certain ways.
mm.
Maybe I should start as well.
Right,
So,
exactly.
uh,
Yeah,
you know, I guess in a way, having this set goal of confessing at or before, after, whatever the or the festival,
at the end of it, I think is what he said.
end of it,
Mm.
is proving to be very beneficial for their relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and
I think.
yeah, dude, I agree completely. I think I agree exactly with everything you said. Like he's kind of set it all in motion to kind of speed up the process a little bit, which they both really need.
Right, for reals.
But in the last chapter of this volume, we talked about it from Kaguya's perspective earlier, the flashback chapter.
Mm.
It is mostly a Miyuki chapter, of course.
Hmm.
But I thought it was nice to get that kind of little bit of a background for him, especially for him. And we learned like just how bad of a time he had at school when he was new at Shuchin, and we get to see the moment when he is first kind of infatuated with Kaguya. And he was really he reminded me a bit of you back then,
Hmm.
like just how kind of negative he was about everything. I mean, understandably, obviously he wasn't having a good time at school, so I understand that he was the way he was,
Of course.
but yeah, it was interesting. And then we got to meet the previous student council president.
Yeah. We didn't get a name.
We didn't get a name, yeah, which was a bit surprising to me. But yeah, uh, about that guy, I feel like maybe that guy is sort of a like he became sort of a role model for Miyuki. Is a thought that I had because he kind of
Hmm.
had the same kind of energy and willingness to help uh like people, like because he sort of saved Miyuki in a similar way that Miyuki saved you by recruiting him
Yeah.
to the student council and all that. He seemed like a genuinely nice guy, and yeah, I feel like Miyuki may have wanted to kind of aspire to be more like him.
I agree.
And yeah, the previous student council president, it seems like he's gonna return in summer, which
Hmm.
is like a long time ahead now, unless because it's like early December now, I think, or mid December, probably like mid
Hmm.
December. So it's like half a year from now, in like the time of the manga is when it will be summer again. But I was also thinking that maybe there's going to be another flashback chapter that's going to take place in summer, so it could be something like that.
It could be.
But yeah, I don't know. It's fun. Like at this point in the story, we're closing in. We're starting to close in on where I stopped reading, volume 16.
Mm.
So we're there's more and more stuff that I don't actually know about, which is nice. For example, this thing, like the previous student council president,
Hmm.
he's gonna return in summer somehow, and I'm like, I know as much as you do about that,
Well, there you go.
so I enjoy that.
I like just this moment for Miyuki in general, how he suddenly has a goal and
Right.
that kind of lights the fire in him to become the number one student in his class.
Mm.
Uh, and you like that. You like to see that progress and determination. It happens all in the space of, what, 10, 15 minutes, maybe,
Right.
in this in real world time. but it's it's really neat to see where his inspiration came from. And yeah, I like that, and I hope we get to see more of how they Kaguya and him got to interact, um, whether it be in flashbacks or, well, it can only be in flashbacks, but I guess like meaning if the student council president is going to be there or not. But
Right.
it'll be interesting to see.
I agree. I agree. I think there's still interesting stuff that could be explored in their past.
Hmm.
Definitely, especially since the story when it started, they had already been together at the student council for half a year,
Right,
at least that.
right. I
Which
mean,
is yeah.
when the story started, they were both of the opinion that they wouldn't mind if the other person confessed to them.
Right. Exactly.
So I would like to see eventually how they got to that point.
Yeah.
Because, like Kaguya said, he sees or she sees Miyuki and how kind he is, genuinely kind. So it makes me wonder what she saw him do that made her think that.
Right.
Um, I mean, I don't think it was necessarily one instance,
Hmm.
that there could be one major one,
Right.
but what were some of the things she saw? Would be cool
Yeah.
to see.
Definitely. Definitely.
So moving on, one thing we learned about Miyuki is he has terrible fashion sense. He's stuck in middle school phase,
He is.
and having lived in Japan in 2010, 2012. Well, I mean, I lived longer than that, but
Mm.
that was when I was around a lot of people, and I noticed this kind of fashion sense where you wear T-shirts that have garbage English on them,
Okay, so
like
it's
no
real.
sense. Oh yeah, oh completely real. It's this weird fashion statement,
Wow.
and the shirts that have these long sleeves sewn into the short sleeves. Yeah, that's a thing.
I mean, I had one or two shirts like that when I was a kid.
What?
Yeah, when I was like in
I
like
guess it was a thing in middle school.
yeah, I mean, I had it before middle school when I was
Oh,
like I was younger than middle school age. I had like one or
okay.
two shirts like that.
Oh,
So
there you
I got a little bit of a kick out of seeing that here just because of that.
go. Well, I
Mm.
never had anything like that. Maybe I wasn't fashionable as a child.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's it. Yeah.
that's exactly it. um, no, so yeah, and then the weird belts and chains, and yeah, it's just
Uh-huh.
it's it's a certain fashion style that was popular-ish at a certain point, but it's very tacky and
Hmm.
whatnot. And it's interesting how they explain it in that he never had time to wear regular clothes, so he just started wearing what he did before. So it's kind of hilarious and
Yeah,
sad.
right. Yeah, like he didn't have the economy to buy new clothes, and he wanted his sister to he wanted to give her the more of a
Yeah,
chance to have nice clothes and stuff. So yeah, it is definitely a bit sad. And so like it's understandable. Like he says he hasn't like bought any new clothes in like several years.
hmm
But it was nice that, he got to buy some new ones now, which honestly he looked good in them.
dude, he's rocking it.
Yeah.
And the fanny pack thing. Oh well, the shoulder pack. It's real. It's real. At least
Yeah, I've heard
I
of that.
think it. I think it's still a thing. I haven't been since 2015, so I don't
Uh-huh.
entirely know all of the up and coming trends. But at least when I was there, yeah, the shoulder packs were huge, like very big.
Uh-huh.
Not so here in America. I don't know about Europe.
I mean, they've been a thing here in Sweden. Maybe not as much right now, but at least a couple of years back, they were absolutely.
Hmm.
But I saw people wearing them in all sorts of ways. So, uh, yeah, I don't know. But I had heard about like certain ways are cooler than other ways and stuff like that. I was never too invested in it though. I got anything more on Miyuki?
No, I think I. Oh well, actually, one more thing.
All right.
We touched on it with Kaguya, how he was able to show his weakness to the one he loved, I mean,
Right.
he's kind of in a position where he had no choice, but I like how he's being honest
Mm.
and he's willing to show that side of himself. And that's just some great progress, I think, because if you're going to have a good relationship built on trust, you got to be willing to show the side of yourself that maybe you're not entirely proud of or um, you're not confident in. And if the other person loves you, then it's not going to really matter as long as you're
Right.
trying to be better and
Uh-huh.
whatnot. So
Yes, and I agree 100%. And I think it's really awesome that Akasaka kind of also goes in that direction with the romance
hmm
in this story and is able to, focus on having his characters show each other their bad sides as well.
yeah,
Really, really like that. Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit about Chika Fujiwara. I have very little to say about her, but do you want to start?
okay. So something that I had been kind of not teasing, I had been thinking about in the back of my head for a while now was would Chika eventually develop feelings for Miyuki?
Hmm.
And I we've seen that she doesn't like anybody right now, and I knew that. Like I could tell that was a thing. That didn't never surprised me. But I felt that Akasaka was potentially putting a conundrum for her that maybe she would grow feelings for Miyuki. Um, get to this volume, and it starts off completely where she's like, "No, there's no, I don't see you as a man or whatever she says." Actually, I'm gonna go to that real quick so I don't misquote
Right.
her. Oh, I'd rather die
Oh.
is what she says.
Yes.
As a how yeah, he asks how she sees him as a romantic interest, and she says, "I'd rather die." So at that point, I was like, "Well, okay, there goes all my theories and speculations." I guess I don't know. I guess I don't know what he was trying to set up, if anything. I guess it was just all this for this kind of joke. That it was more of a mother and problem child kind of a thing, which it really has been. So I don't blame it. And
Mm.
then we we get the part where she describes what her perfect male is,
Right.
and it's basically Miyuki, and she's like, "Oh crap, oh, I got to be careful." And I was like, "Aha, Akasaka,
Yeah.
I knew you were a man of culture, or I knew we were of the same wavelengths." Now I'm not saying like this is gonna be a ship or gonna be a thing.
Uh-huh.
I don't ship it. I ship Miyuki and Kaguya together, but I do think this has the potential to become some sort of drama thing, maybe, where
Mm.
Chika does develop romantic feelings for Miyuki
Uh-huh.
in some way.
Yeah. It
Um,
definitely seems like it's potentially hinting at like something like that, like
mhm.
progressing, which would be so like I don't know what I would think about that. Like a love triangle between these characters would be difficult.
Yeah, it would be heartbreaking for her. There is one way he can go about it is he just makes it comedic and but even then, even if it is comedic, she'd eventually have to accept the fact that
Hmm.
her feelings never be requited. So yeah, I guess it would end up in sadness. But I think the way this manga is going, I don't think it would be too much of a drama intense love triangle.
Yeah.
At least I don't think it would be like that. I think I think that like I said, Chika will potentially develop those feelings,
Uh-huh.
but how she goes about it is um, I don't know. I guess it's kind of up in the air. And knowing Chika, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little unexpected.
Right. Yeah. It's really hard to say. I'm also interested in seeing how and if this is going to progress into
Right.
something like that.
Do you think that even if it's not Miyuki, do you think Chika will gain any sort of love interest as the story goes on? I mean, right now I can't really think of anybody except potentially Ishigami, but even then, there he has other potential or other candidates.
Right.
Better word.
Yeah. No.
Uh,
I mean, assuming Chica is heterosexual, I
oh, true,
can't
true.
think of any character that already exists in the story that she would go for.
Uh-huh.
I don't think. I mean, or well, other than potentially Miyuki, as we talked about, I guess. But I don't see that ever becoming like a floating ship.
Mhm.
So, and I don't know, just with her personality, I sort of have a hard time seeing her in a serious relationship, even
With
though
anybody?
sort of. But I would like to see it. I think
And
at
she
least
definitely has the wants for, or the desires for romance.
true. And if she finds someone and she's happy in like with
Mhm.
someone, then I would be all about that. But right now, I don't think there's anyone for her because Miyuki he belongs to Kaguya, and
Of course.
and it's not going to be you,
No.
and it's not going to be Tsubasa, because he already has two girls
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
interested in him. So yeah, I don't know.
I guess my question wasn't wasn't meant so much like anybody right now per se,
Mm-mm.
but just in general. Do you think by the end, excluding fast forwards in time or whatever,
Yeah,
do you think there could be any sort of love interest for her, or do you think she'll just kind of remain the comedic, romance obsessed, but never or al- always a maid but never a bride? Is that the phrase goes?
maybe.
Um,
I hope she finds someone, and I think I'm leading that she will as
okay,
well.
okay,
I absolutely hope though, and I also sort of think that she will. I'm holding out hope for new characters to be introduced,
true.
so that maybe someone that's up her alley.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's my number one hope. I do think we could get that again, the storyline where she does have feelings for Miyuki. Then again, that could be just Akasaka just playing clown or whatever.
Maybe, yeah,
But I do think that eventually she would get some sort of love interest. I think,
yeah. I definitely hope so.
especially with how popular she is with the peoples.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and more about Chica. We saw her playing guitar, which I thought was very nice. As a guitarist myself, and actually, the guitar that she's playing on in that chapter looks very much like a guitar that I have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like my very first guitar that I got when I was quite young. It looks basically identical to the one she was playing on, so I thought that was pretty funny.
So electric guitar and everything. Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I'm actually gonna sell it because I never play
Oh,
it. It's like it's just collecting dust at this point. I have other guitars that I'd rather play on. Anyway, it was cool to see her with a guitar.
it just shows how much of a musical prodigy she is,
Mm.
and it makes I guess even prodigies don't necessarily have to go to school to become even a greater prodigy. They can just maybe they just do things for fun, and I guess that's what Chika wants to do. At least
Yeah,
that's what she implied last volume. So
yeah, I like that. And we learn, well, it was teased in the chapter where she was playing guitar. The balloon chapter was teased briefly, which happened to come later in the same volume. And another thing that was teased is the ballroom dancing episode, which I don't know anything about. And this is another example of me just being so happy that we're closing in on where I stopped reading, because this is
hmm
another example of something that I know as little about as you do. Uh, so I wonder what that's going to be about.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited to see how that goes.
Definitely.
I mean, I always do enjoy those teaching moments. They're pretty great.
Yeah, for sure. Anything more on Chica?
She talks a big game. Uh, you got like the whole arm wrestling thing. She's like, yeah, I'm pretty strong. I work out, and she's barely stronger, well, not even stronger than Ishigami.
Yeah, right.
Um, so I mean, she's so funny that way. And let me just say, as kind of a ending summary for all my thoughts leading up to this moment,
Hmm?
is I I've noticed that now that I've accepted Chika is not really going to get much character development. Aside from learning new things here and all the comedic things she goes through, I'm enjoying her more as a character. I'm enjoying her as I did when I was watching the anime for the first time, where she was just this cute, bubbly, kind of devious character.
Yeah.
But like we said before, I had started kind of expecting the development that all these other characters are getting, like Hayasaka and Ishigami and everything, that Chika would get that kind of turn. But I don't know if we'll ever get it. And so going to this volume, I just kind of said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy Chika for the comedy person she is, and
Aw.
for the fluff, cuteness, and devious little thing she is, and just enjoy it. And you know what? I think I have enjoyed her more because of that.
Good. At least, yeah, that's good. At the same time, though, I'm really holding out hope for more focus on her, like something more serious for her. I don't know when the right time for that is, but it's something that I definitely want, especially since everyone except for her at this point have gotten that in some way.
I would love it. I really would.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I'm giving up too soon, but
No, I mean, you're
I'm
probably
throwing in the towel.
it's probably good of you, I think, though, to well, it's smart not to expect too much right now, I guess.
True.
I mean, evidently with this volume you made the right call.
Yeah, I guess so. Set my expectations in check, I guess.
Yeah. Is that it for Chika?
Yeah, that's it for Chika.
All right, then let's move on to Yu Ishigami. He's looking out for Miko in the background in one of the panels because he knows just how gullible she is. After Chika tells them that when she was at the other school culture festival that there were guys hitting on her, and and Yu just tells Miko to, well, like basically that she shouldn't go.
Yeah, right. Totally.
Because he kind of knows that if she goes there, God knows what's gonna happen. Like she's gonna be kind of flattered by the compliments and stuff very easily.
Very easily.
So
who knows what happened.
Yeah, so it's a nice thing to see again. Him looking out for her, and of course she doesn't understand it, but
oh yeah, of course.
I do like that gimmick though.
Of course. Another thing I like about Ishigami, I guess it's kind of a comedic thing, but he really is taking the nerd. How do I want to put this? With Tsubame, he's basically trying to simp for her, and making sure that all the other guys don't get that chance to
all the other simps
appeal to her. All the other simps don't get that chance.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny. Yeah, he's just shooting all of them down. And also at the meeting there, like at the beginning of it, he was like just as hyped up as everyone else was. That was so fun to see. Like sort of unexpected, but also kind of makes sense when you saw it. It's like, yeah, sweet. He went through an arc recently,
right?
And
right.
he knows some of these people since before and all that. So it was really nice to see that, him being able to just let loose.
Agreed. But I also like in that same chapter with Monkey, he offers to help her like he's done.
Miko.
Well, Miko. Did I say Monkey? Miko. It's the M's.
Yeah.
He offered to help her with the public speak or speaking in front of people, but obviously she says no. Anyway, just it's good to see that he's still looking out for her, which is probably redundant, but whatever.
Right. No, but it's true. It's true. Do you have anything more on you?
I do not.
Me neither. That was a short one, this volume, but let me keep talking a little bit about that scene, and now it's time to talk about Miko Ino. So, in that chapter, which, first of all, I love that chapter, Miko Ino Can't Love, Part 1. I don't know why it makes me so emotional. Like, for some reason, that was the chapter where I was crying. Like, I was shedding a bunch of tears, like, just reading that earlier today. And I I don't know, I got a little bit annoyed with myself just because it's like it's not even that emotional of a chapter. Um, but it starts off with the imagery of the bonfire and Miko as a kid, and then later on in the volume when the bonfire is brought up at the meeting, we just see immediately how happy she is to talk about it and to kind of fight for that.
Right, right.
Maybe that's what makes me so emotional, just to see that dream of hers or her fighting for that so hard. I don't know, but um, speaking of what we talked about earlier, when Miko, for the first time, when everyone's looking at her and she freezes up, and she doesn't know how to continue her, to speak in front of the others. The first time that happened, because it happens two times in that chapter,
Hmm.
and the first time she looks at you for help, kind of like it's clear that she looks to him, but he's kind of distracted by Tsubame, and she's like, ah, big help you are. Like she's kind of she was kind of expecting him to sort of help her out there, but she didn't get that help. So
Hmm.
I thought that, like, just that little hint. I mean, it's sad that she didn't get the help that she sort of wanted in the moment, but it's also kind of a nice thing to see her in a way. Well, she's relying on him in a way, and maybe this is subconscious, but it seems to be something that she does, at least, because it was definitely clear that she was looking to him for help at that moment. And then the second time it happens, when everyone's looking at her and she freezes up again. That time you does intervene, but in a way that kind of upsets Miko. But it did ultimately help her, though. And she was able to start talking again and actually get a lot of things done thanks to that.
It could be a tsundere moment where doomed if you do, doomed if you don't kind of a thing.
Yeah,
Where if he had offered to help before, then maybe that she would have snapped at him either way. Although to be fair, saying like, "Do you need some help?" with the relationship they kind of have can seem a little condescending, even though I don't think Ishigami meant it in that way at all. So maybe the best course of action would, instead of saying needing some help, would just been go into it. But at the same time, I think this is important for her to be able to do herself.
absolutely. And I think the way you said that, it came off as kind of snarky. So I don't blame Miko for reacting poorly to it.
Okay.
Like the use expression there's like, need some help, is like, it doesn't seem too, like, kind. I feel like he's teasing a bit. um but I mean, it helped in the end, so I think it was ultimately good. But I do love that, though.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff.
So it's nice to see her, yeah, looking to him for help, and also being able to get all of that done. Oh yeah, and also in that chapter, at the beginning of it, when they just got to the culture festival committee, and everyone is like super hyper, including you. But
Mm-hmm.
Miko is like, just like her reaction to all of that, just being like, kind of, what is this? What is all this? Reminded me of Yu's initial reaction to the cheerleading squad. So I thought that was a nice
Yeah.
little rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
Anything more on Miko?
Um, I did have a thing where she's dreaming about her Prince Charming, and I guess we kind of not unheard of for her, but she does basically come out and say like she has these ideal things, and none of them are shaved head, by the way. So
Yep.
I don't understand that, but whatever.
Well, actually, speaking of that, real quick, I did
Uh-huh.
give that some thought, and I was thinking, Miko is like, what, 15 or 16,
Hmm.
and I feel like that's an age where, like, most people are. Well, we go through phases a lot around that age that sometimes don't last too long, and we're just in general
Yeah.
trying to find ourselves, trying to figure out who we are exactly, a lot of the time. And I could definitely see that shaved head thing just having been a phase that she was in around the election period time,
Mm-hmm.
potentially. So it's likely, and especially with, a few volumes ago, when she was, listening to Hot Guys, in her earbuds, and on the image of it, none of those guys were had shaved heads. I imagine, but with that in mind, and also this, it's like, yeah, she probably isn't into it anymore, or at least not only that.
Yeah, yeah. I think that that's a good explanation. And to be fair, how many, you know, pop idol guys or, the so-called attractive guys have shaved heads,
True.
especially in Japan?
Uh-huh.
Not too many.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Another thing in the same chapter is she doesn't like Miyuki's face, which is
Right.
kind of a blow.
That's
Ouch.
right. Oh my god.
But, I mean, all Miyuki needs is Kaguya's love and
Yeah,
admiration. So what does it
absolutely.
matter?
But it was still nice though. Like, even though, yeah, she admitted to Chika that she didn't like Miyuki's face, but she did tell Miyuki though that she understood by now that he had saved her during her election speech, and that
Yeah, yeah,
she respected him for that, and she was very grateful for that. So I thought that was very nice to see.
totally. I think that's all I have for her.
All right then. Do you have anything on Hayasaka? Because I don't.
I don't. I mean, other than the fact that she encouraged Kaguya to match Miyuki's courage for,
Mm,
uh, courage for courage, and kind of help set that up.
true.
Besides that, nah, not nothing really.
Yeah.
She had like a lot of growth in the past 2 or 3 volumes, so it,
Yeah.
it it's okay that there's not too much here for her.
Right. Yeah, and I
If
think
anything, really.
yeah, exactly. This must have been the weakest Hayasaka volume since like volume 3 or something. Or volume 2, I don't know. But anyway,
Just so many characters.
there are, and there were other sort of prominent characters that weren't too big in this one. Like Maki Shijo was really only seen in one panel.
Wait, yeah, where was that?
It was when
Oh, yeah, yeah,
the balloon
right, that's
chapter.
right. Yeah,
And like I didn't really understand her appearance in the balloon chapter really. She's just looking at them for like one panel, and I don't really understand why. Like, it just seemed kind of random to have her there.
I'm trying to find. Oh, there it is.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Like, 'cause usually it's like there seems to be a reason for her to be in the background, or like just kind of observing something. But here, it just I don't get the point.
Maybe I think it's supposed to be a joke where Miyuki says to Chika, "Are you trying to copy Kashiwaki's mannerisms?" And maybe Maki thinks he was saying that to her because she's secretly trying to do that in order to get Tsubasa. I don't know, I'm stretching things, man.
Well, I mean, I'm not. I've stretched things before. I know what it's like, and I could maybe buy that. I mean, it's better than no explanation at all.
Yeah.
Nice work stretching.
I almost as good as Miyuki stretches those balloons, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I guess Nagisa Kashiwagi, I didn't take any notes for her. Well, she was at least bigger than Hayasaka or Maki were, but
Mm-hmm.
do you have anything on her?
No, not really. Other than she's very willing to help, and
Yeah.
she's kind of always been like that.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, and I think in recent volumes, maybe I've given her too much shit. I don't dislike her. I really don't. I think she's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But to be fair, yeah, there were some things I could see why she would rub you the wrong way, you know.
Right, yeah, for sure. But yes, next up I want to talk about Rei Onodera
Oh, okay.
a little
All
bit.
right, we're going there. All right.
She really wants a bonfire just like Miko, we learn at the end of
Mm-hmm.
that chapter, which I thought was just really sweet. I kind of get the impression of her, like, she is actually like a really warm and positive person, but just kind of the way she comes off can often like initially be a bit harsh, perhaps, like just at first glance. But really, she's not like that once you get to know her, or once she starts talking more. Is at least how I've kind of perceived her.
Mm-hmm. I can agree with that, and I go as far as to say she maybe doesn't open up to. Well, maybe that's not right because she kind of I felt that she was a little cold towards Ishigami towards the beginning, but then she saw how he was kind of fitting in with the group, and
Right.
she ended up trying to kind of just treating him like normal after that.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know if that's the same with Amiko here, but she does kind of treat her a little coldly. But as she sees her efforts, I think that kind of makes Onodera want to open up a
Right.
little more as well, maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know.
I think absolutely. And I mean the amount of effort Miko puts into this because she is
Oh
so
yeah,
passionate about it. I think like most people would respect her for that. But I think yeah, I enjoyed that part and seeing Ray. Well, we see that she shares that same desire as Miko does.
hmm
And at the end of that chapter, well, kind of like the between chapters page, you found the note with the request for a bonfire on it, and he recognized the handwriting. I think it's probably supposed to be Miko's, but I could also see it being Ray having written that note, just
yeah.
based on the fact that she was also so happy about doing the bonfire.
I didn't think about that because I immediately thought it was Miko.
Right.
But think about it. She was kind of surprised when that note got brought up. Miko was, right?
That could be surprise. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So based on that, I think you're the idea it could be Onodera is very real.
Hmm.
That's a good catch.
Yeah, and actually, with your addition to it, I think it's more likely. Yeah, nice.
Of course, it
The-
could just end up being Miko in the end, but still.
You're right. I mean, that's the obvious one. But like, I thought of both as potential candidates for that because, well, obviously, Sumiko's handwriting because they work together at the student council, and
hmm
he would probably maybe also know Onodera's handwriting because they are in the same class.
Hmm.
So both make sense. But yeah,
Yeah.
I like to think it's Rei now who wrote it.
Cool. Cool.
Kobachi Osaragi appeared. I don't have any notes for her though.
No.
Kei Shirogane.
Oh yeah, she had like a whole chapter.
Yeah. Uh, and like what I really loved about her in that chapter was basically the very end where we learn that she is secretly really proud to show off her
Hmm.
brother to her friends
hmm
and at her school. But of course, she will never admit that.
Of
That
course
but
not.
it was really sweet
Too
that
prideful.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that smile on at the end page there is
Right.
really nice. I like it.
Totally. Anything more on her?
No, but can we talk about her crazy friend real quick?
Yes, Moeha Fujiwara.
Moiha, I mean, I'm just saying, Miyuki, watch out.
Yeah.
You, you know, you you may want to hire a bodyguard. You don't know what's gonna happen. No, this is interesting. I did not expect there to be this little kind of um, puppy love. Is that what they call it? Where this where Moya falls for Miyuki.
Right.
I mean, it makes sense. You know, there's always the thing where uh, girl girlfriends always fall in love for the older. Not always, but sometimes they'll fall in love with the older sibling of someone.
Right.
Oh, they're so cool. They're in high school or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I think it'd be really funny to see that kind of play out in some way. At least, not
Yeah.
me. I don't expect it to go anywhere, but it could be really funny.
Absolutely. And this is, well, a few volumes back when Kay found her brother, pulling petals off of a flower. She loves me, she loves me not. And she understood that he's in love with someone, but she was never able to figure out who it was. In like the between chapters page after that chapter, she was like glaring at Moya. And when we talked about that, you just kind of, well, and it made sense that you
I
thought
I
that yeah
still think it's just Chika.
she suspected Chica, but after this, You know, what if she even
No,
suspected Moeha?
I, they never met.
They
So
they
before
probably have
this,
met. You know, not on page, but
I don't know if
it's
I don't know.
his little sister's best friend. I'm sure they've met.
She seemed like she had just saw him for the first time though.
I think this was just the first time she saw him wearing clothes like that. Is my take.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
And I mean, maybe they haven't seen each other in a while. You know, it's been several months or a year. I don't know.
I don't know. They just seem like, oh wait, your brother's the student council president. What? No way. And I don't know. They seem like they didn't know him at all. But anyway, I won't. It's point. It's there's no point in arguing over it. It could very. You could be right. I do think that she was looking at her back in that chapter. Was kind of looking at her, thinking, if Miyuki likes Chika, then she'll be. Then they'll both be my stepsisters. Kind of a thing.
Yeah, or sisters-in-law, right?
Sisters-in-law. Yeah, that's the
Mm.
better, the correct word.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know English. You know this.
It's hard. It's hard. English is hard. And what else? Karen Kino and Erika Koze, the media club members,
Oh, okay.
they worship Kaguya. We touched
Mm-hmm.
on that a little bit. And they also sort of worship some other girls at the school, which I thought was funny. Tsubame Koyasu is one of them. And there is, and you probably read it as well, there's a little spin-off series focused on these two characters.
Yeah, I haven't
Uh,
I haven't read it yet.
I haven't read that series either, and it's
Ah.
like I question how much canon it is, since
Oh
it
yeah, of
is
course.
written by and illustrated by somebody else, and you know, it doesn't focus on the main cast anyway.
This chapter kind of felt filler, in a way, especially with that advertisement at the end.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think there was some interesting things brought up, and I'm glad we got to. I enjoyed it, but it did feel like it was kind of a step away from the story and even just the normal hijinks. And oh, here are these two new characters. Hey, they're gonna have a spin-off thing. Maybe you'll. Although, are these characters new? Were they in the first few volumes?
I,
Like, you
I
remember
think
when?
I think so.
Oh, okay. So you remember when there was the magazine and then the principal or whatever they call him told them, "Hey, be like Miyuki and Kaguya." Do you remember that? They were like on a
Yeah,
park bench or whatever.
yeah, I remember that.
Is that them?
I don't know if that's them, but I think it's them in like the very beginning, where at least the blonde girl is in like the first few pages of the first volume, as one of the girls that are just kind of looking at Miyuki and Kaguya as they're walking down the hall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's definitely one of those girls there. And yeah, it's actually both of them. Both of them are there in like the
Gotcha.
the first few pages of the first volume. So they've been around since the very beginning.
Yeah. So it is nice to see them come back in this way, I guess.
Yeah, totally. And they mention the name of a girl, Koromo Shiranui, who is apparently like the Kaguya or Tsubame of the first year students, at least according to them. Like, because
Oh.
they have like one girl from in each year that they kind of worship, it seems. And you know, they interview Kaguya and Tsubame, but we never get to see Koromo Shiranui, and I don't know who that is. But I just thought I'd mention it because maybe it's someone that might become relevant in the future potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Although I really don't know.
Yeah, I think it potentially could be, or maybe it is just like a name drop
Yeah.
in the sense that we have one girl in each class that we admire, so we got to put someone there, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
A couple of things. I It seems like Karen likes Miyuki, but Erika kind of seems a little lukewarm on him, or at the very least,
Huh.
Karen is very, very much head over, or has like a huge crush on him, and Erika is the one that uh, talks for them and seems kind of
Uh.
like cool-minded.
Right. Yeah, you might be right about that.
But when it's Tsubame. Tsubame. I think Erika is a little more into Tsubame than Karen. It's hard. It's hard to remember because we never see him.
Yeah, and these two both have names that sound Western,
They do.
or at
They
least
do.
their first names.
I really want to say Erica and Karen,
Right.
but
I'm sure it's
anyway.
intentional that these two have names that could work very well as Western names as well. You know.
You're probably right. Well, Erica is definitely one that became popular in Japan after. Well, I don't know if it's popular now, but
Mm-hmm.
anyway, um, yeah. So that's just interesting kind of dynamic that they have, and I don't know if they'll come back. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll be around for the school festival,
Yeah,
but
maybe.
I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, for sure. And especially since they are such, I guess, old characters technically, even though they haven't appeared much, they are
Yeah,
still like among the very first faces we see. So it's cool just in that way, I think. But yes, moving on to at least the last character that I have noted down, Tsubame Koyasu, and I don't have much on her,
yeah,
but we learned that she leads the culture festival committee, and she does rhythmic gymnastics.
yeah. She just does everything. I mean, not everything, but she does a lot, and I guess it shows in her personality. She seems like a very genuine, kind, honest person, and because of that, I'm sure she gets a lot of. I mean, as we've seen, a lot of guys and people coming to her, very wanted to get more than friends with her.
Uh huh.
Um, so yeah, it's interesting. Um,
But she enjoys staying active. Like
yeah,
she kind of likes staying busy, sort of. It seems like, and especially if it's like these fun activities, like she gives it all to like the culture festival and all that.
right. I really admire that in her.
Hmm.
And she like we said before, she is the one who tells Kaguya of the heart story, which
Yeah,
will potentially have more on later on, I think. But
I think so. And of course, she's the face of the volume this time,
oh, that's true.
so
Yeah,
that's nice.
she's very cute. There, yeah, so many cute girls.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. All right then. I guess next up is the comedy.
I think the first three. I mean, there's so much comedy in this volume, but I think the first three chapters have some of the some of the best uh, comedy moments in the entire volume.
Uh-huh.
Like the burn session on Miyuki. Oh gosh, dying. So good. I mean,
Chika is so
I
into it.
yeah, she's like, yeah, let's go, come on. Okay, Kaguya, your turn. You get
Yeah.
no, you're don't tell him like little lies or whatever. You got to be real. Tell it to him straight or whatever. Chica. Uh, but
Oh.
then this even I think before then the school festival part where they're trying to invite each other to the other school's festival, but it keeps falling through. They have that misunderstanding.
Mm.
I guess maybe that's kind of typical stuff that they've done before, but the, we also had the tension that they've seemed pretty sincere that they want to confess to each other or they want to go on a date with each other. So
Exactly.
not being able to reach that in all the different ways it falls apart, was hilarious to me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and like how all of the other three student council members come into the room and just ruin everything each time. That was really
uh,
funny.
it was great.
I think my favorite comedic bit in this volume was when Miyuki asks Miko how she feels about him as a man, and if she has any romantic interest in him. And then Chika comes in and he asks her too. And that, oh my god.
Well, it's also the text where she immediately says, "Oh my gosh, he confessed to me," and then right
Yes.
after that, "Oh, he's a man whore."
Yeah, it's so good. It's on point for the characters too. I loved it so
Oh,
much.
so true, so
And
true.
and also in that chapter when Chika says to Miyuki, "You're like food that tastes worse the more you chew it,"
Oh
and
gosh.
like good of Miko to stop Chika like from continuing that rant. But damn, Chika was
Hmm.
destroying him.
Dude, maybe she's practicing rap too much. I don't know, man.
Right. Oh, that's so good. And you, I think it's the first chapter when you comes in when Kaguya is cosplaying and he thinks it's Chika, who's like dressed up as a cat maid.
Oh
I thought
yeah,
I thought that
and
was so funny. Yeah.
shames Kaguya.
Poor
Oh
Kaguya.
gosh.
Yeah, like Kaguya just looks back at him all like ashamed, and he realizes it's her, and he like tries to like backtrack on that. Ah, that was such a funny
hmm
situation.
another funny section is the arm wrestling one.
Yes.
Uh, it, I just love how it became a tournament, and that you know, along with the mind games, it was also just how they went about it. It was just hilarious.
Absolutely, and I loved Kaguya's new title, Muscle Queen,
Yes.
as the winner.
uh,
Ah,
so great.
yeah, man. And at the culture festival committee, when they're sharing their slogan ideas, uh, like I just like the reactions from Miko and you, with Miko just being like all confused and be like, well, like just by the ridiculousness of it all, which makes sense. It is all absurd, and you just going all out to blend in, going like "ye crazy ha" and all that was great.
hmm I, it's just funny how indoctrinated you has become in their culture.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty great.
Anything more on comedy?
I think that's it.
Cool. Then let's talk about the romance, the final bit. And I want to kick it off by just touching on the origin of the Hoshin Culture Festival, aka the Hoshin legend. Just briefly, what that is, just in case anyone listening read it but like forgot the general gist of it. So over 1,000 years ago, there was a man who was in love with a dying princess, and he gave her his literal heart,
Ew.
which cured her illness and saved her life. It's whack.
Okay, I guess that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's so romantic. And so it's said these days that if you give someone a heart-shaped gift at the Hoshin festival, your love will be eternal. And yeah, Kaguya learns about that for the first time in this volume. And yeah, I think it's going to be, something worth keeping in mind, something to remember.
Totally, totally. Especially with how that chapter kind of ends
Mm,
with her saying that she likes Miyuki, and
right.
yeah, they kind of ended on that note. Surely it will come back.
Absolutely. And yeah, we have the culture festival ahead of us, so I'm super excited for that.
True.
I mean, this volume was kind of like or at least it's, it feels like it's like the build up to the culture festival, because it was very much about all the preparations for that. And
Right. Right.
so this is like sort of the beginning of the culture festival arc, you could say, even though it's technically not the culture festival yet. But yeah, I love it.
I wonder how many hearts Tsubame is gonna get. I
Yeah,
really do.
right. Oh my god.
I don't know. Maybe it's not a thing, but maybe there's some connection there.
I know it seems to
What?
be a popular like
Mm-hmm.
ritual sort of, or tradition.
Mm.
But in this volume, Miyuki, he musters up the courage to ask Kaguya out on a date,
Mm-hmm.
which he technically did at once in the past when they were all under the shoujo manga brain syndrome. And Kaguya rejects him again. But this time it's because she's just too dense to understand in time that she's being asked out.
Right.
And but then she was able to muster up the courage also to ask him out, but she expressed herself too unclearly about it.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of touched on that already, but it's like it is them taking pretty big steps on the romantic side of things, although
Yeah.
it didn't end well, of course. But yeah, and I
No.
blame Kaguya for the screw up of this one. In this
Yeah.
in this case.
Yeah. I thought, to be honest, I thought Miyuki was going about it pretty well. I mean,
Right.
yeah, it was a bit off, or it was a bit kind of nonchalant,
I guess so. Yeah.
but at the same time, that's pretty obvious he was asking her out, and she picked up on it like a couple seconds later, but it was too late.
Yeah, yeah.
So if she hadn't been so quick to
Mm.
say something, then maybe she would have realized. But anyway,
Yeah. But hey, at least you and Miyuki had a good time together
yeah, they had
when they
great.
went.
Yeah, some bonding, good bromance bonding time.
Like this really was in a lot of ways like the shoujo manga thing, because that also ended with the two of them going to the
It's
aquarium.
true. Yeah, good point. They
uh,
had a really good time.
yeah. Kaguya, well, we also touched about this a little bit, but from a romantic point, when Kaguya, wanting to endure listening to Miyuki pop the balloons, like balloon after
Hmm.
balloon, uh, because, even though it's torture to her, she wants to be, spend time with Miyuki. And it reminded me of when she gave Miyuki a hand massage, when Miyuki was in literal pain,
Oh
but he
yeah.
wanted to keep doing it because, it meant being able to touch Kaguya's hands.
Hmm.
It was
Hmm.
kind of like the same thing, but reversed in a way.
Yeah, no, I totally
They,
see
they
that.
just want to be together, and yeah, it was sweet. So what you got?
That's pretty much mostly everything. Yeah, no, I think that's it for romance for me.
Gotcha. And then I have one last thing regarding Miko. So we touched on it a little bit before. When she's describing her dream guy, she describes
Hmm.
him as always gazing at her, always understands how she feels, and comes to her rescue whenever she's in trouble. I could totally see that being you,
Yeah.
right? At
Hmm.
least he's there for her when she's in trouble, and he understands people in general just better than almost anybody. So he would be able to understand her, I'm sure. At least if they, especially if they got close. But maybe even now he does. I don't know. And always gazing at her. I don't know about that one, but I could see it.
Well, gazing as in ha- like how Ishigami kind of always has her back. Like
Hmm.
he's always making sure she's okay. Like um, because he kind of feels that she's helpless without him helping her out or whatever.
Hmm. Well, yeah,
Um,
he's looking out for her. So yeah, gazing at
yeah,
her. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That adds up.
that's how I interpret it at the very
Uh huh.
least.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that. So I think, yeah, another little thing to support that
Hint
ship.
maybe. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. I think that ship is going. I think it's going well. It's not.
Right.
It's not. It's not quite built yet, but I think in due time, I think it will be.
Yeah,
For
and
you.
I'm really enjoying just, well, as Akasaka already has been doing with Kaguya and Miyuki, even though it's been obvious from the start that their
Hmm.
ship has been a thing. But as with theirs, he's also taking his time with this potential Miko Yu ship, and I really like how he does that, because I mean, really, there doesn't really exist anything necessarily at this point for Miko and Yu. There's really kind of more bad than there's good, but it still feels like there is enough good that it could become something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love that. All right then, I guess that's it for all of the main topics. Do you have any closing thoughts about the volume as a whole?
I mean, I think this volume does a great job of almost getting every character some spotlight, and you just see how this cast works so well with each other in
Right.
various ways.
I mean, especially the five main characters.
Yeah, especially the five, correct. And yeah, I think, uh, like we said earlier, we're finally getting progression for Miyuki and Kaguya.
Yes.
Um, and I hope it continues to go at this pace. Well, I mean, meaning instead of waiting another 12 volumes for there to be actually happen, that we get some sort of confession in either next volume or 14 or something.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it seems to be hinting that, at least someone will be confessing at least by the end of the festival. So let's hope that
Let's
someone
hope.
will.
Let's hope.
So, have your favorite characters changed at all with this volume?
Mm, I don't think so.
So, refresh my mind on like your top three.
Who are my top three? Kage was probably number. Oh no, no. Ishigami was number one. Kage was number two. Maybe did I flip them?
I
I
I
can't
can't
remember.
I can't remember.
Well, we usually record this every week, but we had a break in between.
Oh yeah, because of Titan
Uh,
Tea Time this time.
So I think I'll still put Ishigami number 1, Kaguya number 2, and you know what? No, Miyuki's number 3. I can't say no to Miyuki. I think he's such a good guy.
Okay, I was expecting Chika.
Chika's at 4.
Okay, I see. For me, I can proudly say that with this volume, Miko is my number 1. She is my only number 1 favorite now, because she was kind of sharing the number 1 spot with Miyuki for the past 2 or 3 volumes or something.
Okay.
But now she is my number 1, and Yu is my number 2.
Oh, you said Miyuki.
Did I say? Oh, sorry. Yes, I totally meant Yu.
You meant Ishigami. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So yeah, Miko and Yu were like my tied first place before, and now it's just her, and Yu is number 2. Kaguya is number 3. I guess Miyuki is number 4. If I'm gonna go with number 4, but I feel like Miyuki is worth mentioning at least.
Right.
And yeah, so like with just that alone, the fact that this was the volume that kind of for me brought Miko over the edge to becoming like my sole number 1. Just for that alone, I love this volume a lot, and this especially the chapter I mentioned, Miko Ino Can't Love Part 1. I'm excited to see the other parts of that, see what that's going to bring us, because more focus on Miko is always welcome in my opinion.
Interesting that Hayasaka has kind of dropped to your top 5 maybe.
No, Hayasaka would be my number 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
She would be number 5. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and she used to be number 1 for a while, but that was a while ago now. But yeah.
Fair. Yeah, that was a while ago. But we had so much character development for her.
True.
In the past 2-3 volumes that it was like, oh, maybe she would have gone up a little bit. But at the same time, we had some strong characters as well, other characters as well. So I totally understand.
Yeah, I mean, last volume especially was awesome for Hayasaka. But she's easily number 5 at least. It's just all of the other 4 have that are above her in my head are just so much. Well, they've had so much more time to shine.
True.
But she does at least beat Chika for me.
Yeah. I think for me, Chika's just I appreciate her so much as a comedic character that I think she's ahead of Hayasaka for me, even with all that development.
Yeah. And that's totally fair. I mean, she is amazing at what she's supposed to be, She does an excellent job at being a comedic character.
Yeah.
So yeah, guess that's it for this discussion. If you enjoy our content, you can follow us on Twitter at Umami Manga. And if you like this episode, please share it around with anyone that you think might enjoy it as well. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you all next time, where we'll talk about Volume 13. Bye-bye!
Bye!